Hello friends, this is Ganesh and the video number 7. In this session, I'm going to explain the deep entity set part 2. Here is the next level of deep entity set. So in the part 1 video, I have explained about the deep entity set, why it's required, and how we can send the information from backend system to UI application using the deep entity concept. So deep entity is nothing but whenever you design a gateway service provider or a project, it creates a independent entity set based on your data model. So suppose I create a data model for my header and my item and the shipment details. So I have three different data models. So I can have three different entity set. So from the UI application, they need a different URI to get the information about the header, item, and more than one item. So those are interrelated. But the another idea of the UI is, so UI send one information about the sales order. They want everything in one return. So they don't want to use a different URI to get all the informations. So for that, we have created an association between data models, and we have created a navigation property, and we created a deep entity set. Technically, we can call it as one internal table can have all the information. So if you have a three different data models, by default, it creates three internal tables. Maybe header is a work area, other two are internal tables. But here what we are going to do is, we did actually in the last video is we created one internal table which has all the information, header, item, and shipment details. So then we'll send the backend data to the UI application as requested. Now in part 2, we are going to do the same but in a reverse order. So here UI is going to send the information of header, item, details. So from UI side, and from the OData service, we have to receive the same and we have to create the entry in the backend system. The same example I'm going to take, sales order. So they're going to send the header information, item details, and shipment details. So header is kind of a work area and other two are internal tables. So based on that particular input record, I have to create a sales order in the backend system using a BAPI. So that is the business process. Okay, yeah, probably I can start with a slideshow. So this is the previous one, previous video concept. So we used a get operation method, and we send the information of header, item, shipment to the UI with the help of deep entity. So this is my internal table, nothing but deep entity set. So I have a header information, I have a item information, I have a shipment information. So for this we used a HTTP method called get. So now what I'm going to do is actually going to be reversed. So here it's a post method. Post method is something but some entry to be created in the backend system. So hopefully you have gone through my previous videos about the get, post, and delete methods. So post is nothing but if something to be created in the backend system. But along with that, the option is they're going to send the information in this manner. So they're not going to send only the header, only the item. So they're going to send the input also as a deep entity set. Maybe a one header and multiple items, multiple shipments. So we have to keep our OData service ready, or I can say the gateway um, service builder project to be ready to receive this information. Okay, so that is it's not a challenging, that is the first place where we have to make our OData to be capable of receiving the information in this manner. Okay, once you received it, so technically it's very simple. Once you have the data, everything in an internal table, you can split the particular internal table to a independent internal table to create the sales order using a BAPI or functional module. So in my process, as I explained in the last video, I'm not able to create a sales order because of the service provider system. There are some issues. It's actually a training server, right? It's a rental system. So many people are working on enhancements. So I'm getting some dumps while creating a sales order. So I tried with the purchase order as well, but I couldn't get any luck. So I created my own three tables I showed already, like sales or a header, item, and shipment, all three Z tables. And I created a function module as well to update the data to the particular database table. Okay, so once you get the deep entity set, I have to segregate based on your function module design and push it to the function model. It will create the information and send back the result whether it's created successfully or not. Okay, so that is the most technical part. So once it is ready, now I'm going to create a deep entity set in my OData service level. So first is header, and all three are dependent. So header, item, and ship. In this part 2, this is the new set of internal table return. In the previous one, we had only three: header, item, and ship, but it is a return because maybe you might worked on any UI application, probably. If not, there is one mandatory option. If anything is coming as a post from UI has requested a return parameter, but in a get information, whatever you are sending is a return, right? You send all the information as a get, everything, all the data is a return only. But in a post, they want a return parameter saying yes, it's created successfully, or it might it not created successfully. What is the issue? If there is no return from the backend system, I'm talking about the generic one, not SAP or UI. So any UI sending in a post method, they are expecting some information from the backend system. Okay, so whether it's created or not, if we are not sending a return information, you are getting an error. Okay, so that is a mandatory option in a post method of any UI. So for that, I have added one more internal table called return for this header. Okay, so because this is going to communicate with the navigation property, that's why I have created an association between these two as well. Okay, so I'm going to use a post method, and your deep entity set should be look like this. Clear? And another one, where to create. So we already know we have to create in MPC extension class. If there is any design level changes to be happened, that needs to be done in MPC class only. All the data provided, all the data related information, you can go the DPC class or MPC class. So once I have to create, this is my data model in SEGW project. I have to create 4 different data models: header, item, ship, and return. And in MPC extension class, I have to create one structure with these information: header, item, shipment, and return. Okay, so return here is 3 and 4. Sorry, there is a mistake, so just forget about it. Okay, it should be 4 always. Type, ID, number, message, and I used BAPI return to structure, so you can add whatever fields you want. Clear? So this is your first step. I have to create a deep entity structure in MPC extension class. One point. Once you're done with the deep entity, either is sending information to SAP or you're creating information from a UI application, whenever there's a structure change happened, okay, I want one more field to be added, I want to delete one more field. So if any structure change happen in your design, and after that if you regenerate it, whatever you have created an MPC extension class will be deleted. Okay, so you might face this problem. I faced many times. It's like once I regenerate, my OData URL will goes to an error. Okay, it shows this is not available and all. So the reason would be if you change any structure in your existing OData design, automatically it deletes the whatever we created under the MPC extension class, which is not in the design. Right? These are in the design, automatically it's available in MPC class, but this is not in the design, right? This is not based on the data model. It's created manually. So whatever you create manually, it will be deleted. You have to create it again. It will take just 2 to 3 minutes, but you should be aware of it. Okay. The next one is this is not available in the previous part one session. Redefine the define method in MPC extension class. In last video part one, we didn't touch anything in MPC extension class, right? We didn't redefine anything. We just added deep entity. I just came to DPC class and redefine the get expanded entity set method and write a code whatever we want. We did it. But here one additional step we have to do. We have to redefine a method called define in the MPC extension class. Just 3 lines of code, nothing big. Okay. So you have to declare one object entity type. So basic statements I have used. I didn't use any new line of syntax. Here we have to use super or define, so I need that to be carry forward in my redefinition as well. So I used a super keyword to define the same method. And here you have to mention two things. One is model get entity type. What is your entity type name? Entity name, not entity set, entity name. So my header, because okay, why we have to do this as in a URI from the UI application, they have to call your URI with the entity name only, right? Set header set or item set or shipment set, right? So based on that, you have to kind of a register, you have to do what is the entity set to be called from your UI. So always it comes on the header set. So you have to give the header set name, sorry, header entity name, not entity set name, because they're going to call with entity set only. That doesn't matter for us. Inside the define, it always recognize with entity name only. So you have to give what is the entity name. Probably I go with S header or header. So we have to give within single quotes. And we need to bind the structure of that particular entity. So that needs to be your deep entity structure from MPC class. So this one. What is the name we have given and where we declared it, MPC extension class, that needs to be added in this line. Okay. So structure name is nothing but your class name, full class name, end with MPC extension class, and the structure name we have to give. Okay. Anyway, I will show you in the system so you come to know it. Clear? So we have to redefine the method called define. And here we are going to redefine a class, sorry, name method as create deep entity in DPC extension class. So if it is, we are going to send the data as a deep entity, we are using the method called get expanded entity set. But here it's a post method. We are going to create some entries in a backend system. So we are going to use a method called create deep entity in DPC extension class. You have to redefine it. So here what you have to do is, this is I can say this is little important area because you should know what you are going to do. This is the entire code we are going to write under this method. It's simple for ABAPS, so nothing, no big change here. It's simple one. Just understand the flow, that'll be easy. So this is my input from UI application. Okay, so UI application is going to send sales order number, order type, and item information and shipment information. Okay, this is the input from UI, or I can say in your XML, right? Gateway client you are testing, right? So in from that you are going to get the input in this fashion. So next what I have to do is we have to collect it based on your backend. So your BAPI receives the header item shipment. So based on that, you have to segregate into a work area or a header or an internal table, depends on the design. So in our design is header, item and shipment. So I have to segregate it. It's ready. So next what I have to do is, here, if it is standard, you have to call the standard BAPI to update your sales order or purchase order. Here, I need to call my custom function module to update the data to the backend system. Okay, this is also a simple way. We are going to do everything under this method, create deep entity method. And finally, this is one additional step we have to do, fill return, because this is a post method. Post method is requesting some written information. So I have to fill it based on the output from the function module. It may be an error or success, we have to fill it, the written information. Finally, your all the UI application or all the gateway system client recognize the value from a ER or deep entity, any name. It could be one of the export parameter from the particular method. Every method has this kind of internal table. So that is the final internal table should carry the data outside of your OData service, like outside in the sense it needs to send the data to the UI application only with this internal table. Then only your UI recognize what is the output. Even if you are not fill this information, you will get an error in your testing saying that we are not it's like backend system doesn't send any business data. You'll get an error, 500 or some red color error, you'll get it. Okay. So finally, you have to fill this information. And one best part is like create deep entity or get expanded entity set method is this is actually a type of data. Okay. It's open, so it's not depends on any structure. So whatever structure you're sending, it's adapted it and it's sent to the UI level. So finally you have to fill it. So I have fill internal table and I have header, item, shipment. Suppose they want to know, okay, I'm sending everything to back to the UI. I need to fill this your deep entity internal table. Once it is filled, yes, it reflects in your UI application. But in our case, I can't say UI application, at least from the gateway server, gateway, SAP gateway server level. Okay, so testing level. In the transaction, you are able to see what is the output of it. Okay, so this is the entire design of deep entity set to create an entry in your backend system. Okay, and the next one is a little more technically. I have to perform the same data flow, this one. So first one is I have to transfer the UI input data. You don't worry about much to convert it. So what you can do is you have an option called iData provider. This is one of the object which is one of the parameter for create deep entity method, and in that there is a method called read entry data. So whatever is information is coming from the UI, whatever format it comes, it's converted it and put it in your deep entity set internal table. Anyway, I have a deep entity set internal table, right? I have to create, declare one internal table which refers to my deep entity set. So I can say structure, deep entity structure. So it will take that one and segregate the data from deep entity set to IT is normal loop and read I can do. If you're okay, you can use a new way of syntax as well. And use the function model to update the data in the backend system. Yes, currently in my case it's a custom, or in normal business scenarios you can use a BAPI which is updating the which is creating a business data in the backend system, or sales order, purchase order, whatever it is, and gather the function module output and feed into a deep entity set or return information. That's what I told, right? So whatever you do, finally you have to fill the particular internal table where it carries the information from your backend system or OData to UI level. And finally move the data from deep entity sets to deep entity set. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the one. And the fourth one is I have to fill the return type. Yeah, it's a success or failure that I have to fill it. And finally, I have to fill this to entity internal table. Okay. So for that, you have a method called copy data to ref. In the same method, you have a, sorry, same interface I can say. In the interface, you have a method called copy data to ref. Use this method and pass a message from your internal table to underscore deep entity internal table. So technically these are steps you have to follow in create deep entity redefinition method. Okay. And the interesting part is how to create an input file. So that is a very big question because I tried many blogs, they given a very big XML and everything. So we have to copy paste and modify for our need. But we have to create an input file. So that is actually the good part because we have to test many business scenarios. So every time it's very difficult to copy the others and do it. So somehow I just break my head and I have came to a conclusion how to create it. It's very simple. Step one, go to a JSON format. Okay. Anyway, sometimes we test in the UI application, but we have to test in our gateway service before hand over to the UI team. So don't go with the XML format. This is very difficult. So go to a JSON format. It's very simple. Okay. Create an input file with a JSON format. First one. In my case, I have three things: header, item, and shipment. First, header. Start your information with open parentheses. Okay, that before that no www dot nothing because this is a JSON format. Okay, just open your first line of your input with open parentheses, and within double quotes you have to give the name of your uh, fields. You can refer your data model entity. So where you created an entity, right? Entity model for the header. You have to give that particular name. First column, you have to give the first column is always a UI which refers. So that first column, whatever you field you created, property of the entity, give that name. It's case sensitive. Okay, if it is a camel case or if it is a small or capital, how you declared, you got to declare the same. You have to create in the same way. So SID is full caps and order type I have created. It's in the normal case. And colon, double quotes, and you have to give the value. So this is my sales order and this is my order type. Clear? So this is for header. And then continuously, okay, this is I can't give even anything in the full one because it might be it's not visible in this particular window, so that's why I segregated into three different areas, but it's a continuous way. Okay, so here you have to give, after the comma is very important because something to be continued, and navigation path between header and item. So what is the navigation path between header and item? That particular name to be written over here within double quotes. Okay, and again it's a case sensitive, and colon, I'm going to open this. So this is for my item. Header is not required, directly you can write. For item you have to require this bracket. Then this is for first record, open parenthesis, and there is a comma for the second one, and there is no comma over here because there is no more record. So here same way, fields value, and this is a second record, fields value of item 10, item 20, and here it's closed. My entire things is closed over here, and I'm going to continue with third one, my shipment. So this is a shipment. Here you have to give the comma because there is the another structure or internal table to become. So here navigation path between your header and shipment, and same. Here I'm setting only one record, so there is no comma over here. And this bracket is important. So this is for only one record. If you want another record, put a comma and just copy paste the other one over here and close it. Close this particular segment, and finally you close the entire field value. I can say file or input file, whatever it is. So this is a way to create a input file for your deep entity set in a simple way. Okay, and for your testing. Clear? So I hope I have completed the design part, and I will show you how to save this, because every time you don't want to copy paste somewhere. Once you just execute in the post method, you can save it. It's very simple as a variant, nothing big one, just a variant. Okay, you just save it. Today I will show you the basic function module and tables, how I designed, and probably in the next video I will show you how to create whatever I explained here. So the same thing I'm going to show you in my system, deep entity set, and redefine the define method, redefine the create a deep entity. So everything I'll show you, and I'll show you once I execute the method of how the return should come, and how it's reflected in the backend system. So everything I'll show you in the next video. Okay, so I'll show you the basic thing today. Let me get into my system. Yeah, okay. So this is the function model which I created, very basic function model. Okay, no complex codes. So just insert to the table. I consider this is my header table, and I have a return messages. So, and this is my item, and this is my sales. Okay, and I have a return type, success, and error message. So this is a function model which I am going to call in my create deep entity set redefinition method, and these are the tables which I have to update the header information, custom tables, item information, and shipment informations. Okay, so please go through the design, because I already mentioned in the first session, OData is nothing but a design. So if you're good to the design, coding is normal, a web code, so there is no much worry about in the coding part. So go through the design, and if you have any questions, please let me know. So hopefully I will show you, I'll walk through the technical part in the system for the deep entity set in the next video. Okay, thank you so much for your time. See you in the next video. Bye.